Swiss mountains, alpine meadows, Siberian forests, Arabic deserts. In the country of the Great Steppe, the country of romantics, brave trailblazers, strong by spirit people, conquerors of natural elements. Discover the new Kazakhstan with the program Extreme Routes.
Extreme Routes. Today in the program, Off-Road, 41st Wade Road of Karakistak. Could an off-road vehicle get stuck in places where other cars will not even dare to go? Off-road drivers plan their itineraries through rivers, ravines, snowdrifts, and even swamps. Today, we will ride with them. Off-road driving, or jeeping as it is called in Russian, is simply driving off-road cars, passing through complex nature routes, overcoming obstacles, and only 4x4 vehicles can do that. The ones with powerful engines, high clearance, and large wheels, off-road cars or SUVs. For me, off-road driving is a lifestyle. It is adrenaline. I get moral satisfaction from this. I do not understand what it gives me exactly. I just like to do it, and I do it. There are many places for off-road driving in Kazakhstan. The landscape of this country is very diverse. Steppes, mountains, rivers, deserts, and even swamps. We have it all. Plus, the real 4 seasons of the year. So you can drive on dry or mud roads in the warm season and in the cold, on snow or even ice. Take, for example, the neighborhood of the southern capital, Almaty.
Возьмем вот 300 километров, да, в окружности.
Take a radius of 300 kilometers. The Kolsai lakes are nearby. Then Chariasi, Bartogoy, Singing Dunes, beyond Kapshagai. That is, we have a lot of places in the Almaty region. There are beautiful places, for example, in the South Kazakhstan region. In general, there is so much to see in Kazakhstan. Even the steppes are exciting. Driving somewhere in the steppe, seeing wild animals, wolves, foxes, hares. This is also a kind of beauty. Probably that's why I had no problems finding a company for new adventures and a master who was ready to share his experience. Online, I came across a blog of the Almaty off-road driver Maxim Zubenko. We bought a car just for this and completely prepared it for off-road driving from scratch. We spared a lot of effort and time. Our longest journey was about 2,000 kilometers. It was a long time and it was really a real test for the car. In less than 6 months, drivers drove 30,000 kilometers. They drove around the whole Almaty region. And so our adventure is beginning. Today I meet drivers with whom we will conquer the impassable terrain. As they say, there are no roads, there are only directions. Hello Maxim. Diana, nice to meet you. Hello everybody. Maxim, where are we going today and what are we going to do? We are going to Karakistak to test our cars. Roughly speaking, we found this point on the map on Google and we're going there for the first time. We do not know what to expect, what's out there, what the roads are like there. We will have the chance to find out. Super! The trips should be grouped. It is one of the main terms for traveling off-road. Different situations could happen. Cars get stuck and you won't be able to get out by yourself. Taking the situation further, your mobile has no network, and within a radius of several dozens of kilometers, there is not a soul. What are you going to do? No one should travel alone anywhere. They say the fancier your off-road is, the farther you'd be going to find help to tow it. So, to avoid going out there for help, there must be a friend who will stand next to your shoulder and be able to pick you up from where you got stuck. No matter what, when you're a part of a team, you feel more confidence. But we have nothing to fear. We will have 4 off-road cars on our little trip. We will travel close to one another and keep in touch throughout the distance via the walkie-talkies. So we are going to Karakista Gorge. It is 117 kilometers from the city. Today it is snowing, which means we're waiting for a real fun adventure. Let's hit the road. At first sight, it looks quite friendly, but the asphalt road ends here, and we drive up to the first hurdle, a river. Yes, there are several of them. Then you are worried. This gorge is also called the 31st Wade Road of Karakistak. They give the route a high category of complexity. Well, let's take another step to conquer the unknown. And we run into the first sticky situation, which we mentioned earlier. The river was deeper than it looked at first sight. One of the members of the group is stuck, but we're next to him. Don't worry, we'll help you out. This means that in order to put the car into the four-wheel drive mode, you need to turn on the mode itself and separately the hubs. This was done by drivers in the middle of the river. The driver of the car turned on the mode inside the car, so as not to fall into the icy water. The companion drove up in his car and hooked the hubs from outside. Such gears are not available on regular off-road vehicles. Off-road drivers install them themselves. There is snow in some places. The fog is imminent. We drive up higher. We pass one wade road after another. They become more and more complicated, and the risk is not always justified. Perhaps it's better to make a stop and we consider going further up. We just need one car to get through to find out what the road is like ahead. If we are to go along the river, we have the tow car. Well, let it pass through. If something happens, we have the winch. Right. Let's try this. Let's say the heaviest vehicle is the patrol. It should go first. After him, the Montero. If he can get there, everything will be fine. If it does not work out, you back it up a little, pull it, or we will back it up from behind.
Station WLS Class.
This looked a lot scarier than it turned out to be. We're over it. Let's keep going. But we didn't get to drive for too long. We ended up on the territory covered with ice. Another round of talks. Well, we got to the pure ice. Let's help him out. It's been decided. He needs to take a detour on dirt road, but first, let's clear it off rocks. To be honest, I thought that this off-road was just going to roll on us because of the ice. Indeed, it was scary. I thought we would have to turn around and go back, but he somehow managed. Is this an experience? Yes, of course, perhaps. It was the most difficult obstacle at the moment. We decided to go around this ice, because on the tires he had, it was impossible to get up there. In the meantime, the route was getting scarier and scarier. The off-road with the camera crew couldn't continue driving. But it was not a reason enough for us to turn back. We had to leave it halfway. Can you see us? Come on up here. We're on the mountain. We can't get up there. The car won't go. And we got to another obstacle, or I should rather say an attraction. The drivers decided to race here. each has its own strategy. Volodya taken advantage of the fact that his car had the highest ground clearance and the biggest wheels, drove all over the edges, where the rest of the cars would probably lose their bumpers. Ruslan, who was sitting next to me, suggested to clear the ice. Honestly, I did not immediately understand what he meant. The next thing I knew, we were moving forward like a tank. The ice below us was crunching terribly. I had really mixed feelings about that. Meanwhile, Ivan decided to find out how deep the river was. This sort of swimming isn't scary for his off-road because the exhaust pipe is up on the roof. Experienced drivers advise when passing through such complex obstacles, it is better not to fasten. In that case, it is easier to get out of the car should something dangerous happen. And if one is driving along icy lakes or large rivers, one should keep the windows open a little. Well, in the improvised race, passing through the difficult route, I think the Nissan won, considering the time and tactics. But speaking of the skill, the Oscar goes to Pajero. Soon we got to the very top of the gorge, a small plateau surrounded by peaks resembling pyramids. I got to say with absolute certainty that the difficulties we faced were worth it. The reward was this amazing beauty. Another pearl of the national parks of Kazakhstan, the Karakista Gorge. The height of the local mountains is 3,400 meters above sea level. Winter here is severe, and it surely does feel like it. Before going back, the off-road drivers decided to take a little ride along this canopy section. The roars of the engines, the snow flies in all directions. A great place to watch the sunset. The way back seemed to me a lot faster, despite the fact that we also had to stop to yank out other cars that got stuck. Our journey turned out to be full of adventures. I think I witnessed what it really meant to drive through the impassable terrain, and I look forward to the next day. After all, Maxim promised to give me a personal masterclass on extreme driving. To better my off-road driving skills, we did not have to go too far. On the outskirts of the city, not far from the roadway, Maxim found a suitable place with lots of potholes. The road was powdered with snow from the day before, but the temperature was above zero, so I was expecting a lot of dirt. Well, how did you like yesterday's drive? Super, I really liked it. Firstly, it's a stunningly beautiful place, but to be honest, I was scared at times. And then there are those routes, then the ice clearing and drilling. How do you do this every time? Look, the main point is to get rid of your fear. I've prepared 2 tasks for you. The first task will make you the navigator. Oh, what is that? The navigator is the person who's making the route, the co-pilot, and it helps in difficult situations to help the driver navigate, because when you're sitting in the car, not everything is always visible. Today, it will be your first task. Second, we will teach you to drive yourself. Great, we drove out to the very difficult route. There were swampy areas and even water, so you need to think how to get Volodya out of there, and how? Well, pull him out, help him get on some drier terrain. Well, when you get there, you'll see. The vehicle is stuck deep. Too bad, just this morning it was washed off from yesterday's adventures, and now it is taking a mud bath. I didn't even see the road at first. I was in the backseat. The 2 back wheels got stuck, and now I'm struggling to get out. On top of that, I forgot to turn on the hub. Well, right, he forgot. This of course can happen even to experienced off-road enthusiasts, but the faces of mine structures are too happy. But what do we do now? I'll try to plan out an optimal route for Volodya. First, let's figure out what happened to the drive gear. As I remember from what I heard yesterday, the hub connects the drive gear with the wheel. It must be on, otherwise we will not be able to get out. Now, I will find out what this thing looks like and how to turn it on. Here is the indicator free, meaning free, open, and not on. Is it always turned on manually? That's right. Lock means it has been locked and it's on. Well, let me try. You will fall into the water like that. Am I supposed to put my foot on it? Yes, like this. I just turned it off. It says free. Now back. And now what? Now back. Shall we? Let's go. Actually, Volodya will drive alone. Co-pilot isn't always next to the driver. The view from inside the car is limited. I will carefully examine everything around and help him get out. I think we're not doing too well going forward. There's a swamp and we're getting stuck. I think we can try going back. Volodya, try going backwards. From outside, the co-pilot can figure out why the car can't get through and have a better judgment of the terrain. The co-pilot could put sand trucks or put on chains, for example, and that would save the car from getting damaged. So it looks like it worked out. Yes, everything's cool, and your idea to back up is simply amazing. Well, it seemed to me it would be illogical. Yes, it was really the coolest decision you made, because you would not be able to leave without my help. Yes, indeed. Well, let's go to the car, and now we'll see what you can do driving it. I can't wait to do this. So again, let's go through the basics. Even if it seems that it is easy to drive through, it is better to prepare in advance to turn on all-wheel drive and hubs. I just checked the hubs today. Here, now it's off. That's right. Okay, get in the car and look at the all-wheel drive. Hooray, I'm getting it. I feel like a real off-road driver. I wonder if she'll do it or not. Inside, it didn't all come out as easy as it seemed. I thought I'd just press the all-wheel drive button. That's not entirely how it was supposed to go. The all-wheel drive has two modes. That is, with a lock of the interaxle differential and without it. Lock is a complex word. Lock of the interaxle differential allows one to get out of very sticky situations. One can overcome with this lock on about 80% of the difficult situations. If this is not enough, press this button, which locks the gear axle. Is the theory more or less clear? It is clear. Everything else depends on the skill. Of course, everything else depends on the driver.
Okay.
Everything else is like on any other vehicle. You start the car, switch gears, press the acceleration, and drive. The dimensions of the off-roads are something to get used to. It isn't too comfortable for me. The front view is covered by the hood, a feeling that there is a cliff ahead. What do I do? Same way as before. Keep steering. I can feel very well these, what are these? The shock absorbers, right? The car is rocking up and down, and you have the feeling that you will be banging against the mountains. But on the contrary, somehow it's so smooth. You're driving just like one of those children's cartoons car, sort of like that. When I began to trust the car, the fear was gone. Driving off the steep slope, you think something is going to happen right now, but the car just handles it. It was assembled specifically for such rides. At some point, it even seemed to me that the car was alive and we are working in tandem. You must be like a brain at this moment, and your car is like a body, and it listens to you. Very submissive, and it's cool. I like it. Well, now you can say that you are a real off-road driver. Certainly, now you have a desire to buy an off-roader and join the club, and go on a trip, and test your skill and your car yourself. Definitely. In the end, I want to say that in this sport, as well as in any other extreme sport, the most important thing is to get over your own fear. And then you will have unforgettable adventures, splashes and dirt on the windshield. This insane power is in your hands, and if it isn't enough, There is a friendly team always ready to cheer you up. Our film crew follows numerous routes of sports tourism. These routes run through the mountains and steppes, forests and deserts of our country. Join us now. Kazakhstan is even more interesting with us.